I'm bored. Let's talk about Gina Carano, Star Wars, and the grifter space. All right, board fam. So I was looking around today. I wanted to talk about this Gina Carano stuff, and I thought for sure some of the usual suspects would have videos on this. I'm like, they're going to be talking about it. This is their girl. It's Gina Carano. No doubt they've made like 5 videos about this by now. But surprisingly, they hadn't. We do have a video we're going to watch, but let me show you guys quickly. This really shocked me. So if you go over here to Geeks and Gamers, all right, the main channel, there's nothing on the Star Wars Gina Carano stuff, which is really weird because they used her extensively as a prop when all this stuff was going on with her and Disney battling over Star Wars. So it's just a little weird that there's nothing over here with Geeks and Gamers. There's not even a live stream about it, which that's kind of what they do now, mostly as live streams. All right, so I went over and I said Ryan Kennel, right? Ryan Kennel definitely has one. He makes like 10 videos a day. Look, here's a Mandalorian and Grogu video. But nothing about Gina Carano. Matter of fact, I don't see her face in any of the thumbnails in the last 11 days. Yeah, it doesn't look to me like he's talking about her at all. Then I got really curious. What about Nerdrotic? I looked at Nerdrotic Daily. There's none over there. But here's the main Nerdrotic channel, right? Nothing over here about Gina Carano. That's your girl. Y'all went to bat for her. She was the poster child for the anti-Disney side of social media. Remember how bad they treated her and how you guys were fighting so hard alongside Gina. And then she gave up, took the money and ran. Are you guys punishing her for that? You're not going to cover her for that? Maybe you talked about her on one of his live streams. Well, she's not a subject of the live stream. I don't see her face anywhere. Again, I looked at Nerdrotic Daily. She's not there. What about heel versus babyface? What about heel versus babyface? Definitely, he's 100% going to be talking about Gina, right? No. He's not talking about her either. He's also not talking about her on any live streams. They're not trying to make money off of Gina Carano the way they did back in the day. I'm actually kind of surprised. Now, if you guys are unaware about the news, this video, we're going to talk about this in a second. We'll go over it. But Gina Carano, supposedly, according to the Chud Space, is coming back to Star Wars because of some comments that she made. Now, this channel is a channel we've never watched before over here. It's Derek Anderson, the DA. I've seen him on... I think I've seen him on Yellow Flash, maybe Side Scrollers. I know he's been on Film Threat with Chris Gore. I'm almost certain that I've seen him over there. But he's not a smaller channel. He's got a pretty sizable following. He's going to talk about the Gina Carano stuff. I want to hear what he has to say because I'm curious why none of the larger channels are covering it. Is it because you guys can't get Gina on anymore? This is all speculation, but is it possible that you reached out to Gina to come on and talk about this? And she knows that you guys are like completely unpredictable in terms of like what you're willing to talk about, what your audience is willing to say in the chat and everything. She doesn't want to get in the middle of all that because she's got an NDA. So everything she said in the other interview was it was designed ahead of time. It was talked about ahead of time. So she knew exactly what she was going to say. And she doesn't want to be in a situation where she's put against the wall. She's backed into a corner. Is that why? I don't know. Let's hear what Derek Anderson has to say here. Shout out. Someone sent me this video. Shout out to sending me the video. I don't want to reveal who you are because you didn't say whether you wanted me to or not. So in the comments, if you're the person that sent me this video and you want to say, hey, it's me, and I know who you are, I will pin the comment. All right, let's go ahead and watch this video.
Everybody, Derek Anderson, the DA. All right, everybody, look, before I cut out and go watch Michael, man, I had to do a video on this situation with Gina Carano, all right? You guys have probably already heard it. I know I'm on the late freight, but Gina Carano is confirming a conversation she had with Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. And so
a conversation. No contracts, no promises, no guarantees, no jump on the back of the, get back in with us. Get on the trailer with us and ride into Star Wars. No, nothing like that. Just a conversation. Let's see what this propaganda website has to say, Geeks and Gamers.
So now the speculation and the questions are being asked, is Cara Dune coming back to Star Wars? And of course, because this thing is all over the internet and everybody's buzzing about it, you know what that means.
2026 and we're still doing this? You're a grown man. We're still doing this in 2026? Wow.
Yep, the meltdowns are absolutely here, man. Man, the meltdowns are here, man. And so we're going to check those out, man. We're going to go to the place where skies are blue as well and see what they got to say, all right? But yeah, here's basically the little quote that's coming out of this interview that she had, I guess, with this guy, Ariel Helwani. Let's go ahead and listen to it.
Well, I guess
I've already had a conversation with Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. Really lovely. You know, after we settled the lawsuit, we got on a Zoom call. It was really nice.
Wow.
Dave Filoni's taking over, CEO of Star Wars, and it's like we didn't even miss a beat. And Jon Favreau was really funny. He's like, got on the Zoom, and he's like, "So, where did we leave off?" And we hadn't spoke for a while, and he's like, "Where did we leave off?" And I was like, "Yeah, like kind of." You know, they've been in that world a long time. And, I think you have a decision in life. You can go left and you can just completely give up on yourself and wallow in pain and regret and all of that. Or you can go right and you can get your shit together and you can say, no, I'm gonna do everything I can. And I've chosen to go that direction.
I want to point out a couple things here. Whether this leads to something or not, and I'll talk more about that in a moment, these guys do not care about Gina Carano. We've already established that. I showed you their channels. They're not talking about this. None of them are trying to back her up, support her, anything like that. These are also channels that have said Star Wars is dead, and there's nothing Star Wars can do to bring it back to life. They've gone on record saying this. They've continued to say it multiple times. Check my receipts. Go watch their videos. How many videos has Nerdrotic done? Star Wars is dead. Bury it. There's so many of them. Thirdly, they have not supported Gina Carano in any of her endeavors outside of Star Wars. And what I mean by that is everything that she's been a part of with Daily Wire, all of these other projects, none of them have been supported by any of these guys. They don't really promote it. They don't talk about it. They don't do anything for her in terms of support. She was used as a prop and a tool to go after Disney. And the big red flag for that was once she actually took the NDA into the lawsuit without going all the way through, not finishing it off. So no discovery. No one found anything about, Star Wars and Disney behind the scenes because they didn't want any of that. So they gave her a nice big fat chunk of change, hush money to make her go away. And she took it. Meaning that all the support that she rallied from all of these guys meant nothing. It meant nothing. It meant don't say it meant nothing. For her, it meant a paycheck. But for them, it meant nothing. They got nothing out of this. Because what these guys really wanted is they wanted Disney exposed for doing things behind the scenes. And Gina was that pipeline. She was that one in for them. She'd been on podcasts with them. She's been to conventions and took pictures with them and stuff like that. She's been pretty friendly with those guys. But they didn't get what they wanted from Gina Carano. So I feel like deep down inside, there's a little bit of punishment going on from them when it comes to this news. They're not going to cover it. They're not going to hype it up because of personal reasons. They're all in their feelings about it. That's my theory on that. And some of the smaller channels like here, Derek, I think he's got like 36,000 subscribers. That's nothing compared to like Nerdrotic and those other guys. They've got many, many more. So he's not in that circle in the way they are. So he's making content that I think he wants to talk about. I believe that these are things that he does want to talk about. Those guys make content specifically based on how it's going to affect them in the algorithm and how it's going to reflect on them and how it's going to make them look. So there's a difference there. And this is pretty much outside of the news cycle at this point. I'm talking about it because I just think it's ironic that Gina was their girl and now they're ignoring her. I think it's kind of funny. Her coming back to Star Wars will not make Star Wars good again for them. That doesn't make any sense. That's another reason why I think they might be ignoring it, because if she does come back, then they have to start treating Star Wars like it's good because she's in it. Or they'll have to say she was the best thing about it, regardless of how good or bad she is in that project. It puts them in a bad position. So they're just going to ignore it for now. But let's continue and see what Derek has to say.
And it feels...
That's the reason why people root for Gina, because she has this positive, can-do attitude with pretty much everything that she does in her life. And so, yeah, she could have easily just went down that dark rabbit hole after, Lucasfilm fired her. But, she decided to take charge of her own.
She wasn't fired. Her contract was not renewed. They keep saying fired. They keep using that word. Her contract was not renewed. They didn't continue the negotiations for her contract to move forward. It's not that when you work as an actor in Hollywood, your job is through the duration of your contract. Once that contract is up, that is the end of the job until you sign another contract. You're not fired in between jobs just because your contract was up.
Situation, and now she's possibly coming back here as Cara Dune. All right. And you'd love to see it, man. You'd love to see it. A lot of people
do you love to see? So you just gave her credit for moving forward and pushing on. And now she's going back to the people that treated her like shit. You love to see that? That's what you want? You want Gina Carano, someone that you guys were supporting. And when I say you guys, not specifically Derek, I always have to disclaim this, but people in this space, you supported her through all of this. And now you're okay with her crawling back to the people that did this to her? That's okay with you? That's what you love to see? I wouldn't want, if there was somebody that I was a fan of who had been mistreated by a company or a studio or something, in my opinion, and I had been behind that, and they went all the way through the court system and settled outside of court because it was so bad they didn't even want it to go to discovery. Clearly they were hiding something. I've said this before. Disney is not a company without its skeletons in its closet. There's a lot of things that Disney probably does that is bad. So that discovery would have been interesting, whether you were on Gina's side or not. It would have been. I would have wanted to see that, honestly, to see what happened behind the scenes. But we didn't get that. So you want her to go back to the company and work for the company that has skeletons in their closet. They're hiding things from people, and they're abusing people on their staff. You can look at their behind the scenes with the actors and writers and people involved with it, the artists, stuff like that. They get abused by Disney all the time. Disney lays people off all the time. They just had a bunch of massive layoffs. So why are you so excited? Why do you love to see it that she's going to go back and work for a company that you and your group doesn't support? That doesn't make sense.
Didn't think this would happen, right? But you guys remember the settlement agreement, all right, that Walt Disney and Lucasfilm came up with Gina. It had this language with it. With this lawsuit concluded, we look forward to identifying opportunities to work together with Miss Carano in the near future.
That doesn't mean anything. That's the same thing if you look at any of these lawsuits, including the one with Scarlett Johansson, they left on good terms. They don't want to look bad. When they settle, they want it to look good. This is literally just them placating. We look forward to identifying opportunities to work together in the near future, meaning that if it never happens, they don't ever have to go back to this and go, our comment was concrete, right? We have to work with her because we said so in this statement. No, there's nothing binding here. This is cope.
All right. In the near future. And this was posted up back in August. All right. So that's when the lawsuit was settled in August of last year.
And keep in mind, Kathleen Kennedy was still there. Dave Filoni wasn't in charge. So looking back at that statement under an era where Dave Filoni was not the person running things means nothing. It means nothing, guys.
And this would technically be considered the near future. And so, you know what? You love to see it, man. Good for Gina. She's out here making her career.
Good for her. Go back to the company that abused you and fired you and took you through a lengthy court battle. That sounds like winning. That sounds like something that somebody wants to do. I would love to go back and work for a business that had treated me awful and treated my community awful. I want to go do that. That's what winning looks like. Come on.
Trying to get her career back on board. Look, is she going to be in The Mandalorian and Grogu? I think that's what a lot of people are wondering right now. Is she going to be in the movie that's coming up? It wouldn't have taken much just to shoot a couple of scenes.
Come on, bro. Are we for real? Gina Carano, the person that can't even get people to watch the other stuff she does. The person on a, MMA special, boxing special coming up. They wouldn't want her to promote the movie that she's in. She's literally going around and promoting stuff right now, and you're telling me that Disney would say, shh, be quiet, be quiet. All of your other failed movies, they were so successful. All that bad drama and stuff impressed with us. That was so good for us. We want you to be quiet about this thing we're doing with you where we're extending an olive branch. We're rehiring you to be a Mandalorian and Grogu, and we don't want you to talk about it at all. Be as vague as possible. You think that's what they would do in this situation with her? Gina Carano?
Post-credit scene even? You know, just to throw her out there, just so people would speculate about it. Because now that she has said this, everybody's speculating about it. It's like, man.
No, they're not. I looked at all the big channels. None of them are talking about it. None of the big channels that you guys, Geeks and Gamers, Ryan Cannell, Nerdrotic, Hill versus Babyface, none of those guys are even talking about it. So no one is speculating about this, man. No one. And when I say no one, I mean the people that matter in your space. That would be the driving force. The people that would be talking about this in a positive way and driving that speculation, driving that hype for it, are the larger channels that Gina was attached to when the lawsuit was going on. And none of them are talking about it. Meaning that no one, and I'm saying it is a bit hyperbolic, but in the sense of like the upper echelon of your community, the ones that are really, that matter, the big ones, none of them are talking about it. Thus, no one in that community gives a fuck about it. If they did, they would be making videos on it. But they're making videos on Starfleet Academy. Remember a show that nobody gives a shit about? That's what they're talking about. They're not talking about Gina Carano.
And it's a possibility that she could be in the movie. You know, some of you guys don't want her to be in the movie, and I get it. Trust me, I get it.
I don't care if she is or
Gina,
she
you're
isn't.
too good for Star Wars, all right? Especially Disney Star Wars. Just let it die, all right? Let that chapter of your life close. Let's move on to the next, okay? But see, the thing about it is I've always been on Team Gina. What does Gina want to do? She's the one that had to deal with all those slings and arrows and all of that character assassination and all of that negativity. She had to deal with that, you know? And then look, the character assassinations and the negativity haven't stopped, all right? Master the TDS, he posted.
Oh, God, this guy, Master of the TDS. We're not going to sit through. It looks like he's going to spend, we're only 3 minutes and 50 seconds into a 16-minute video. And he's already got Twitter pulled up on his screen, which is a big red flag for me. If you guys watch any of these channels and they read an article or a soundbite or something, and then within like 10% of their video, they immediately open up like a Twitter tab to show random person number 5 talking about it, it's time to tap out. Like at that point, they're just padding their video. If they're just reading tweets from random people, I'm not talking about actors or celebrities or reporters or articles or anything like that. If they spend the vast majority of the video reading tweets, it is time to pack it up and go. But let's see what he has to say here. The Master of TDS is an account I'm familiar with. Let's see what he says here. We're not going to watch Derek read through people on Twitter complaining about stuff. Like, that's a waste of time.
This up, man. You know, he likes to compile all of this type of stuff, and I thank him for it because it makes my job easy. Gina Carano revealed that she recently spoke with Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau on a Zoom call about a possible return to Star Wars. Naturally, the mere idea that Dave or Jon would even speak to Gina again has sent the kind and tolerant side of the Star Wars fandom into full meltdown mode.
That's the straw man they always used to use, tolerant, the tolerant left. The people that are supposed to be able to accept anyone. Bro, fuck that. That is a misuse of the term at its core when we're talking about people on the left. And we've gone over this multiple times. They love to use it. Only their brain dead minions think it's funny or think that it's real. Like, we're not the quote unquote ignorant, tolerant left anymore. We're not just going to let stuff happen. That ship sailed like years ago. But they keep going back to it because it's a greatest hits for them.
The response has been exactly what you'd expect. Name calling, recycled false accusations, and people threatening themselves or Dave Filoni because he dared to take a phone call. This is absolutely retardation. But look, we see it all the time, man. So I went ahead and blew some of.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm going to skip through his video here. Is it just, are you just really reading tweets for, man, this is compelling compelling content, Derek. Reading tweets for 14 minutes of your video? Very compelling. So before I wrap this up, I want to go over what it is that Gina actually was involved in for anybody that may not remember. All right. In late 2020, September 2020, actually, Gina Carano changed her social media bio to beep, bop, boop. Critics interpreted that as mocking people who put pronouns in their bios, especially trans people and allies. Carano denied that she was mocking trans people and said she was pushing back against the pressure to conform. However, it's at the expense of trans people. You see what I'm saying? She's not making a statement that makes sense outside of going after trans people, because that's what that is. It's a mockery of trans people. So it's like, I'm going to make a stance against this thing, but I'm going to also let people be collateral damage in the process. She later said that Pedro Pascal helped her understand why pronouns matter to some people. That's from an article in People. She also posted or shared messages critical of mask wearing, lockdowns, pandemic restrictions, and vaccine mandates. Critics saw this as spreading misinformation or minimizing public health measures. Disney later cited those broader posts as part of a pattern it objected to. So individually, one post about it, or, questioning, do we need to wear a mask? Like, those things don't really set off red flags for me. Conspiracy theory stuff does. And there was a pattern of behavior of Gina's post that fell into that category. And that's why it was brought up during the lawsuit. She had 2020 election claims. She posted her amplified claims questioning the legitimacy of the 2020 presidential election. Critics accused her of spreading false election fraud narratives. We know for a fact that the election stuff has been through the court system. They can't even find it now. Trump keeps claiming they have it. Literally nothing. If you're still talking about election fraud from 2020 at this point, please see a therapist. And at this point, these were the three big things that we had, the people were pushing for Gina Carano to be fired from Disney. By the way, still not fired. We're talking about the definition of being fired. She wasn't fired. So the post that triggered Lucasfilm's public break came in February 2021. Carano reposted an Instagram story comparing the climate faced by American conservatives to the social conditions that made Nazi persecution of Jews possible. The post argued that persecution starts with neighbors are encouraged to hate each other for political views. Critics said this trivialized the Holocaust and equated modern political criticism of conservatives with Nazi-era anti-Semitism persecution. Disney Lucasfilm viewed it as crossing a line. Reuters, I can never pronounce that right. This is where I'm reading this from. Summarized that Lucasfilm removed her post after the company said they were abhorrent and unacceptable for denigrating people based on their cultural and religious identities. It split the entire argument into like a million pieces. On February 10th, 2021, Gina Carano is not currently employed by Lucasfilm, and there are no plans for her to be in the future. The company had also said her social media posts were abhorrent and unacceptable. Vanity Fair reported at the time that the United Talent Agency also dropped her as a client. Here's where the whole fired and not fired situation arises. Reports noted that she was not actively filming at the time of that statement, meaning that her contract with Mandalorian Grogu had expired. So the wording currently not employed rather than she has been fired or terminated. The reason why they did that is because she wasn't currently employed by them. They hadn't re-upped her contract for any other projects. Again, not fired. Now, people in this space treat it like Carano was removed from the Star Wars universe and they broke some sort of like contractual obligations with her. They did not. So, and ultimately they went to court. She did the rounds with these guys, raising money for court costs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Elon Musk supposedly got involved with some of it at some point in time. Anyway, ultimately she settled outside of court right before everything went to trial. And she hasn't said anything since because she's got an NDA. Matter of fact, in the interview that we watched, she didn't talk about anything that happened previously. She talked about stuff that happened right now because she's legally not allowed to do that. She's burned so many bridges, and I don't think she's a big enough draw to warrant bringing her back to Star Wars. I mean, how long will that last? Would they get a slight bump from some of these conservative guys for her coming back out of the blue? Like a little bump from that? Probably. Like I could imagine initially it's like, I want to see what this looks like, what she's doing. But over time, it wouldn't matter. She would just be another character in a Star Wars universe that these guys don't like. They don't like the current Star Wars universe. So why would Gina Carano change that for them? She's not going to be the lead of her own show. If she's in a project, it's going to be with other people that they've already expressed they don't care for. They've shit on. They've been racist towards. So why the fuck would this change anything? This is all so dumb. Disney would be dumb to bring Gina Carano back. Not because I ultimately don't give a fuck one way or the other. These companies are not great companies anyway. So they make bad decisions every day. So if they brought her back, they brought her back. You'd have to make a personal decision on whether you wanted to boycott that. Are you going to watch it? You're not going to watch it. You're going to go to the movies. You're not going to go to the movies. Whatever it is, you make your own decision on that. But the reality is they would be stupid to bring her back because she is controversial. And there's probably something in the NDA that prevents her from talking about any of the stuff that happened previously, meaning she can't even really promote projects and do interviews without basically having a bookend on everything. She can only talk about what she's doing right now. Every interview, I can imagine this right now. Every interview with Gina Carano, and this is where I'm going to end the video. Every interview with Gina Carano, when she goes out to talk about anything she's employed by, if they hired her back right now, every interview would try and sneak in a question about something that happened previously. Why are you working with a company that treated you so poorly? Why are you working with a company that called your comments abhorrent? Why would you do that? What would be the reason for that? These would be the questions she would get asked, and it would be a social media nightmare and a PR nightmare for Lucasfilm and Disney. So it just doesn't make any sense to bring Gina Carano back. This is really a nothing story. I doubt we're going to see her in any substantial capacity in Star Wars, and I don't think there's a high probability we'll see her at all in Star Wars. I could be wrong about this. I think it's too big of a risk for them. We'll see. We'll see.